Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame, and this is the recap review for The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So hopefully this will be a series that a lot of y'all will get into and that it will continue or have spin-offs after it is completed. There are only 2 episodes out now, so if you have not seen it, it is not something that is just gonna be so hard to catch up with. But let me say you might, I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna really be required, but it is a Marvel show. It connects to the other Marvel movies that have come out over the years. And yeah, just from the beginning, like you might be like, well, why he got that shield? Like y'all, I mean, like, yeah, I'm gonna explain it a little bit. But yeah, I was very excited when I heard about this show, but I didn't know how soon I was going to watch it and if I was going to do a recap review on it. But I finally decided to do it. I should have started last week when I was off for 5 days, but it doesn't matter because there are only 2 episodes out right now. So yeah, I'm excited to see how it goes. Hopefully it will continue to go over well. I have been hearing nothing but amazing things and I have not gotten spoiled somehow. So I'm glad about that too. So let's go ahead and get into the recap review. So the guy Sam, who is Falcon, he is getting ready for work. And, you know, you can tell that he in his feelings a little bit because when Endgame, the last really large, major Marvel movie that came out before the pandemic hit, he was approached by Captain America. And Captain America had to do some stuff in order for time to do what it needed to do and to help out with what was actually ultimately going to happen with all the stuff that happened in Endgame. See, I'm trying to kind of say it without really saying it because some of y'all might actually take the time out to go and watch the Endgame and some of the other movies. Y'all can figure. Some people really do watch certain kind of, recap reviews and they're like, you know what? Okay, let me go back and watch this stuff. So I'm gonna try not to really spoil it all that much, but yeah. So spoiler alert, just in case. He has Captain America's shield that was given to him by Captain America. You know, Captain America is no longer with us because he had to do some stuff in order for some stuff to pop off in the direction that saves the world. And he was given this serum, this super soldier serum or whatever they call it. I might be pronouncing it wrong, but yeah, he was given this super soldier serum a long time ago, back when like Vietnam and one of them wars was going on, and he has looked the same age for forever, for like hundreds of years. He should have been dead in real life, but he is amazing. Like nothing usually can hurt him and all that stuff, even when he suits up. And so when all this stuff happened with Endgame, he ended up going back through time and seeing some stuff. Tony Stark's daddy and like grandfather, it was just a lot of stuff that happened that he had to go back in time and see some stuff pop off. And then he ended up coming to the present day, and they had a moment, y'all, I almost cried. They had a moment where he was sitting down with the Winter Soldier and he passed on his shield. He was old and gray. He was basically dying. Like time once, it's like when he went back in time, he had to do what he had to do, which meant that he wasn't going to be the super soldier, which meant there is no Captain America, right? So despite all that, he spoke with him. They had their little moment, like their backs turned. He old and gray and hunched over, finna die. And he said, y'all, I was so tired. Getting flashbacks to that movie. I ain't even watched it again yet, y'all. I don't know if I probably will. I don't know when I'm gonna watch the Endgame again, but yeah, I have worn the shirt that I purchased to watch that movie in, y'all. Like it was a thing. Like when I bought this when the first half came out. The first Avengers came out. Nobody had this shirt that was in the theater that I was in. I normally would go get the shirts that everybody else didn't get. Most people go to Walmart or somewhere and get their shirts. I would get mine offline places, and people will always ask, where you get your shirt from? I have a Spider-Man shirt. They won't know where I got it from. because I wasn't getting them from like random stores around here. Like everybody else would go up in Walmart and get their shirt, which ain't nothing wrong with it. But yeah, oh gosh, when I went to Black Panther, Lord, everybody and their mama said it off and wanted to know where I got my shirt from. I was like, calm down. And I thought I looked crazy, but everybody said it. Everybody, black, white, no matter what they were, everybody rolled up. So anyway, y'all, it was serious out here when it came to these Marvel movies. It will be day one, line wrapped around the building. If you've never been a part of that experience, I don't know if you would ever be, you would never be able to experience it anymore, I don't believe, because you see what's going on now. I mean, the building will be packed to capacity. Y'all, anyway, I'm getting upset a little bit because as much as I hate crowds of people, I kind of had my moments where I was happy to be a part of that type of scene because we all were there for the love of the Marvel Universe and what we knew the movie was going to give. Man, Stan Lee dead, man. Rest in peace, Stan Lee, man. Chadwick Boseman, oh my gosh, y'all, oh my gosh, I cannot. And then, it's just too much going on. So yeah, y'all, I'm sorry, I had a moment, excuse me. But yeah, y'all. So anyway, back to the Falcon. So the Falcon is getting ready for work. He is dressed in normal attire as he has in the past because he was working for like the government and all this other stuff. Right now he's working for the Air Force. He's been working for the Air Force for like 6 months. Working on various things. They be needing the Falcon for all kinds of stuff. The Falcon be setting it off. He can get into places that a lot of people cannot because they are not mobile like he is. He puts on his armor and all the stuff that he has, and they allow him to be released from a plane, and he can fly around and do what he needs to do all kinds of recon, and that's what they needed him for this project that he's about to go on. So anyway, before he leave the house to go to work for that day, you can tell he in his feelings and he reminiscing about some stuff, and he look at the shield, and then he put the shield in his bag. And even though he didn't pull the shield out, I guess that's just his way of keeping a piece of Captain America with him. Because, like I said, Captain America is now deceased. He had to die in order for a lot of stuff to pop off and save the world. Like, it's just a lot that was going on, y'all. I almost cried. I can't do it. So anyway, y'all, they have him going on this mission. There are some people who have hijacked this cargo plane, and you know, at first they were trying to look for the people and there was no sight of them at first, but then the Falcon get up on the cargo plane and he look in there and he see one person dead in the passenger seat where the plane is flying, and then he see the other person just flying it. And so he has to radio back in and let them know that the people have already taken over the plane. So he doing the most to the point of where the dudes see him. And then he tried to tell his boss, he was like, I think there's a man up here. They're foreign. He was like, there's a man up here. And so the man think he crazy because it's like, how's a man just out here on the plane? Come on now. We up in the air. You're doing too much. So, of course, he ain't letting it go down without a fight. He has this X-ray vision, sonar, radar, or whatever. He can sense the heat imaging that's going on. The heat imaging is going off, and you can see that it's like two guys roughing up this other dude who is a captain in the military or was captain on a plane, one or two, but he had on the soldier's uniform. Like, they were trying to get into certain territory and do what they need to do, but these people that hijacked the plane. So they talking about, he flopping around like a fish. Maybe we should go ahead and gut him right here. So then the Falcon show up and he start beating everybody down. And so he think everybody is down for the counting out. And he over here talking about he finna rescue old boy. As soon as he say that, he get knocked out. he get hit. So he got to fight some more. The people coming too. And it's just to the point where some of the people have aborted the plane. And they are in these like flying squirrel type of suits that can allow them to, have their aerodynamic moments in the air because, he got his suit on and he can do what he want to do. And, they leaving. Y'all, these people doing the absolute most in the air. They pulling out guns. You got 2 pistols in your hand shooting at the Falcon. Y'all doing the most in the sky. So in typical Marvel fashion, for like several moments, they was in the sky fighting and shooting or whatever at him. And then somebody shot and hit his thruster bag. And, Then we learn that he needs to, you know, get out of there because he's about to enter in some territory that they are not supposed to enter into legally. And so he over here trying to figure out what he gonna do. So they end up calling in reinforcements on the evil side of things, and he's becoming outnumbered by the moment. And these people pulling out rockets from out of the aircraft, shooting them at him, big bullets from certain aircraft shooting at him, doing the most. And so, like, it's the kind of, you know, rockets and stuff that they follow the target. So they following him. So, you know, of course, he being fast and smart, he following, you know, he letting them follow him. And then the stuff is so slow that it's running into the different planes and all this other stuff, end up killing some of these people. So it's like he get to the last plane and they told him he had like 90 seconds because he wanted to know how long it was before he was going to end up crossing over, because they're like, oh, he ain't going to follow us over here, over the east. Once we get to the border, he ain't going to follow us there because you legally cannot do that. Yeah, you trying to fight terrorism and all this stuff that's popping off, but legally you can't do it. So then he was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So then his thrusters come all the way back online and it rerouted him. And he was like, I know what I could do. So he ended up thrusting his stuff all the way. Like, I guess it helped to speed him up a little bit more. And he was able to like fly directly into the person that was in the plane, knock them out the plane. And then one of the other rocket, and then he like shot one of his like little explosive devices on the plane and let it blew up because somebody was jumping out. I don't know if that person made it because he actually started falling really, really fast. And he might have got splat on some sort of a rock, mountain, or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, crisis was diverted. And of course, since his stuff ended up getting damaged a little bit, a lot of people, you know, try to underestimate some of these folks, but he's really smart. And he was in this outside market food setting place in whatever area they're in where they speak Arabic. And he was with one of the people that he works for in the Air Force with. And he was like, you know, don't touch this. The man tried to roll up, was like, oh, if you cross this, he was like, no, don't touch it. And then he was like, every time somebody tried to touch it, somebody else tried to touch this stuff, they mess it up or whatever. And so he over here working on it, doing what he needed to do. So then this business owner come over to him with his wife and was like, thank you so much for saving my wife and bringing my wife back to me. And he started speaking in Arabic. And so the man was like, oh, he speaks Arabic too, the dude who worked with him. And so he has a phone and he is looking around and just taking video footage. And he sees this sign. It's like this, not emblem, it's like this marking that somebody made from some terrorist type group that, you know, want to be seen as bad news or whatever. And so he was like, oh, okay, so this is what I was telling you about. These people, they go by this and they doing this. Y'all, okay, so I'm going to get back to that. But the most be popping off. So hold on. I'll be right back to explain who these people are again because I forgot what their names were. Okay, y'all. So I had to put these in my ear because all I could hear was them calling the people the black something. I think they were saying that this group is calling themselves the Black Snatchers. So anyway, you know, they are doing the most, and they have like an underground manifest that they keep doing and putting out there that people have to kind of put together and go online. And it's kind of like an underground black market type situation. So anyway, these people just believe that there should be a world without borders and do what you want to do. Like, just do the most. But it's like, y'all know y'all ain't right. Y'all know y'all doing the most, whatever. Y'all, so the guy asked Falcon where he was going because he told him he had to leave. And so he was like, I got to go to Washington. He asked him where he was going in Washington. And so he was like, he had some business to tend to. Y'all, I got in my feelings because he went to Washington because that's where he's worked before a lot. He's done a lot for the government. He's done a lot in Washington. But he went to Washington that particular day because he had to go to the Smithsonian. He decided to bring forth the shield. And that is Steve Rogers, a.k.a. Captain America's shield, so that it can be on display at the Smithsonian. And he did a speech. and all this other stuff. And War Machine, aka Don Cheadle's character, was there in plain clothes, in his normal attire when he's not wearing his War Machine stuff. Yeah, he was. They kept panning out to him so many times. Like, everybody is in their feelings. Anybody who played a role in Endgame went all the way through. Like, y'all, I just think about Tony Stark and I'm just tired. So anyway, if you've never seen Endgame, there was a situation that happened. I'm just gonna say situation where half of the world disappeared. But if you were already dead before then, you are dead. Like, you can't just come back. There's not a second chance for you. But yeah, half the world disappeared for 5 years, and then they just reappeared, and as if nothing happened. And yeah, it was a lot, and a lot of people still haven't gotten over it because they just thought people disappeared and they had gone on with their lives, thinking that, it's over. It is what it is. And then these people come back and it's like, how do I even incorporate you in my life anymore, no matter what you meant to me back then? Like, it's a lot. It's a very emotional moment. Somebody gonna roll up on him and talk about, oh, well, I'm just so glad that you finally came forward with the shield. It's like, first, second, and third of all, Captain America gave that to him. He didn't have to bring it forth to do nothing. In all honesty, he passed it off to him for him to be the one to be the next Captain America. So let's just not even go there. Let's not even go there. Let's not do this, because he didn't even have to do that. He didn't feel right about it, even though he, basically gave his blessing and told him to do it. Like, they worked side by side. They used to run together in the mornings when they were both living in DC. And working in DC doing stuff for the government. It's like, bro, like, they were really close. They really were like brothers. So I'm like, please stop. Especially when Bucky went off the grid, which was interesting that they actually, Don Cheadle's character, I just like calling him War Machine. But anyway, War Machine, asked him if he could talk to him off to the side after he had given his speech and all this other stuff. And so they talking, and he was like, I had just been spending time with my sister and my nieces and nephews, and then I came back and everybody is like grown, and like it's a shocker because he just been working, and it's like ain't nothing you can do about it. It just is what it is. So anyway, man, they walking and talking, and then they zoom in for a minute on like one of the things that we have seen throughout all of these Marvel movies as it pertains to Bucky, aka the Winter Soldier. So I saw the picture, and it was like a picture of him when he served with Captain America. I could tell it was one of those. It was just a picture of himself, but I'm just saying, I was like, oh, they got Bucky. When Bucky gonna appear though? Because we haven't seen Bucky on this show yet, or at least I know I ain't seen him. I saw him, I saw everybody else but Bucky so far. So yeah, they talking, and they walk up on, I guess, the actual uniform that Captain America had, the shield. They had the, of course they put the shield next to him, and they had the uniform and all that stuff. It was just a sad moment to me as someone who is an avid Marvel universe lover of these movies, y'all. Anyway, this might be longer than I anticipated because it's bringing back memories. And again, I don't know if I will ever even go to the movies again to watch any of these DC and or Marvel movies. I just don't think I will. It's just not safe. And the people, and then it wasn't safe before that because people were shooting up like, y'all, okay, let me stop. Y'all know I'm going to get into it. So anyway, I'll be back. Child, as soon as I said, I wonder when Bucky going to show up, here he come. They show a old flashback of Bucky when he had rolled up on some folks and set it off. And then when he was done, he said, "Hail Hydra." That took me all the way back. Again, if y'all don't know nothing about the Marvel Universe and all these other little entities like Hydra, y'all, I can't go into it. It's about to drain me already. The most is going on. The memories. But yeah, basically he was in the middle of having a nightmare. He is supposed to just be a civilian now. He is like 100 and some years old too, because Captain America was like 100 and some years old before he did what he did in order to save the world. So he actually sees a shrink. And because he worked for the government, he is Y'all, Bucky is very unique. He's in a very unique position because he has been on the good side and he has been on the bad side and he has been in the middle and he has just basically been in every position. So he knows both sides, just to say the least. So anyway, he's seeing this shrink and he lying to her talking about, I haven't had any nightmares. And so she was like, we've been at this long enough for me to know when you're lying. And he despises when she takes out her notebook and starts taking notes. So if you don't talk, she gonna write stuff down, and he don't like when people do that. So he start telling her what happened, which wasn't the full truth. So present day, what he did was, he didn't tell her about the nightmare, but what he did tell her that he did was a part of his therapy. And he did do it, but he did some extra stuff on top of that. So ultimately what he did, y'all, was he tracked this woman down who was on his list of people. It's like 10 names on a list of people who he is going to track down and make amends with, even if they are trash. So he tracked this woman down, put this tracker on her car, and he basically bugged the car. And he stayed near the car. He had this device. And when she got in the car with some dude and said some information that, you know, he found out about to the dude, he was able to remote start the car and lock the doors as soon as the car started up and had them like go around the parking lot and park somewhere else. She trying to figure out what's going on. Bucky done rolled up on them and bust the window out and knocked the dude out. And then he was like, you know, he said this line that if you are in rehab and or in therapy, you're supposed to say that this is a part of your rehabilitation and that you are sorry or whatever. And this is what he did. He said his little mantra, I guess is what we're going to call it. He leaving out the fact that there are 3 rules that you're supposed to follow. You are supposed to not kill anybody. You are supposed to make amends, and you are supposed to, what's the other one? The first one. I don't know why I can't think of it. It's supposed to be legal. Whatever you do is supposed to be legal or something like that. So yeah, basically nothing was legal. He did a lot of things, and you know, after everything was all said and done, the police, FBI, and everybody else surrounded the vehicle because this was somebody on his list that needed to be brought down because they had dealings with some bad people in the past. So anyway, so he's done with his therapy session, and then this old guy, he is like, I don't know if he's Vietnamese or what, but anyway, he get into it with this young dude because the young dude rolled up on his trash can, putting his trash in it. Y'all know how a lot of people can be finicky about trash cans. So he getting into it with him. Bucky rolled up and was like, hey, what's going on? And he told him what the situation was. The old man about to set it off. The man got to be 80, 90, 100 years old. And he had to tell him to calm down. The man mad. So he finna go on back to his house or to his shop or wherever he going. Bucky was like, we normally go to this restaurant. And he was like, I ain't in the mood today. He was like, okay, what about if I pay? And old boy stood there and he was like, all right, you know, as long as you don't say nothing. So they went to the restaurant and they ordered something that they completely never order. And so the woman was like, are y'all being adventurous today? Like it's a young girl. Y'all, they having a good old time enjoying themselves. And then the old guy then asked the girl out on Bucky's behalf. And the girl was like, you know, ain't nothing to be embarrassed about, you know, because he was kind of like trying to apologize on behalf of the older dude. And she was like, I don't see a problem with it. And so she was like, I mean, I'm here for it. If you're here for it, you can come and pick me up tomorrow. I get off around 10. So he looking at him like, I ain't, you normally got to dance and stuff like this. I ain't danced since like 1947. Because like I said, Bucky is actually old, even though he looks young. Yeah. So anyway, the man has this moment where he pauses looking at this food. I don't know if you pronounce it mochi or whatever, M-O-C-H-I. He looking at it, and so he like, what's wrong? And so he had a moment, and he said his son used to love red mochi, and he just had a flashback to his son, and he was like, I will never know what happened to my son. He went to work, did what he was supposed to do, and then people said that it was a wrong place, wrong time type of situation, and that's how he got killed. And so I don't know if Bucky's wheels are turning, but that man was so deep in his feelings out of nowhere. I was like, oh gosh, okay. Well, they've gone to the next scene, and now we're back to Falcon, aka Sam. Sam is in, I think you pronounce it Delacroix. Louisiana, and he driving, so I'm finna see what he doing down there. Oh my gosh, y'all, I had a slow moment and I just realized something. Before they gonna reveal it, I just realized it. I don't know why I didn't connect it. I'm so into all this stuff and the memories. I'm even surprised that it even came to my mind. I had to pause half the scene. But anyway, before I even get to that scene. So I think that Sam, aka Falcon, the Falcon is from Louisiana. And so he went to visit his sister and the, nieces and nephews and things. And they have this shrimping business. And of course, everybody was happy to see him. It was funny. It was funny at first, and then it got really serious. And so she said something like, why you got this stank look on your face? Like mom would have, or something like that. And he was like, he said something about, how you gonna read me when I'm usually the one reading you? I died. I was like, he said reading. Oh my gosh. But anyway, y'all. So to make a long story short, she was like, look, I made the decision to sell the boat. There is an old boat that has their parents' names on it. I think their parents' names are Paul and Darla. And of course, he don't want it to happen because it's in the family. And she's just like, I made the decision to do this. You ain't been here. You were off saving the world, which, I mean, you can't blame him for that. It is what it is. What can he do? He couldn't help that. Like, you can't get mad at him for doing something that he actually had to do. Like, come on now. I was like, girl. So anyway, so they're talking, and he is really trying to convince her. Y'all, I'm looking at this because I'm trying to make sure I've said the parents' names correct, because they showed the boat quite, Darlene. I was like, I think it's wrong. I think it's Paul and Darlene. Okay, y'all. So anyway, like I was saying, he was just like, well, we can take out a loan. She was like, don't you think I've, already thought of doing that? And so he was like, well, you have me now. Like, we could try it again. And, she's already come to terms with selling the boat. And so, in her mind, she feels like he's making it hard on her. And it already took a lot out of her just having to come to terms with that. So she gonna try to give it a try and see what happens. So yeah, y'all, Bucky just set it off and went on a little date, y'all. He went on the date, and the girl was cleaning up the restaurant. And I guess it's a Chinese restaurant. And she was like, well, I'll be done in a few. Have a seat. So they talking, and they start playing a board game. And so she starts talking about how she feels like he is so sweet for being friends with Yuri, which is the old guy's name. And that, they have a name for children who lose their parents. And, that you're an orphan if you lose your parent. You're a widower or a widow if you've lost your spouse. But there isn't a name for a parent that loses their child or their children. So then Bucky, he just had a moment, and he left, and, he was just like, excuse me. And so she was like, are you okay? He done left out the door. So then they show him at Yuri's door, and Yuri is like, what are you doing here? He look over at the shrine that this man had made for his son. He got all kinds of stuff, including his photo. Y'all, they zoomed in on that photo. I said, oh my God, no. Y'all. Okay. So I didn't mention this before, but in Bucky's flashback, he ended up killing some people, and somebody witnessed the killing. He was so nervous and distraught when he was trying to open his hotel room door that the key was shaking. Like he all above the keyhole, all below the keyhole. Like, and Bucky just hears the rattling. He turned around and he see him. So apparently he ain't finna get in the door. Y'all, I can't get, ain't no comfortability about to happen right now, because this told my nerves up a little bit. Because, I mean, I'm fully aware that Bucky was not in control back then. Like, Bucky was going all the way through, so I understand, but it's like, Lord. Y'all, the guy was like, I didn't see anything, da-da-da-da. Y'all, Bucky pulled a gun out and killed this man point blank. The man who he killed is Yuri's son. I'm done. They haven't even finished the scene yet. As soon as they zoomed in on that son, I said, oh my gosh. Lord, Bucky just killed this man's son. Whenever he killed this, I don't even know how long ago this was, but because Bucky is literally 106 years old. So anyway, y'all, I'm gonna get back to the scene because I don't know if he finna apologize to him or what. I think he on the list. I don't know if he knew that that was his son. He might have. But I don't know. That man is so lonely. Like, he has nobody except Bucky. Now, how he gonna live? That man probably gonna die in his sleep if he tells him this information. Y'all, I am so tired. Yeah, y'all. They zoomed in on Bucky's list, and Yuri's name is the first one on the list, and he has his name circled. And he has not been able to make amends because that's a part of his therapy healing, is to make amends to the people who you've hurt and all this other stuff. Child, I don't know how he gonna do this. Hopefully that man passed away before all this happened because, Lord, Bucky ain't gonna make it. Like, but y'all, if y'all don't know who Bucky is or what he's gone through and all the changes that he's been through all throughout the Marvel Universe, I implore y'all to look it up and read about it or watch the different movies and stuff that he was in because it's too much. It's tearing my nerves up just thinking about it because he literally did not have any control. Like, he did not have control over this stuff. Like, he was going all the way through, and he will forever have these memories even though he was not in control. Like, it was... Anyway, y'all, yeah, that man is at the top of the list that he has to make amends with, and I don't know if he's gonna ever be able to do it. But he kept looking over at the shrine, and the man asked him how did the date go. He said it was fine, and then he gave him money, telling him, "Oh, I thought I owed you for lunch," and then he walked off. So the old man looked over at the shrine like, okay, and shook his head and closed the door. I'm like, man, Bucky, come on, like this is too much. Y'all, so the dude that we saw earlier in the episode with Sam, aka the Falcon, he was in Switzerland doing like some recon, still following these same people, which I got the name wrong earlier. I don't know why I could not hear it at all. It sounded like they said Black Smashers, but they said Flag Smashers, so my apologies for that. But yeah, so he was out there, and there was this scenario that happened where he walked up to somebody trying to see if they would respond, and the dude looked at him like, anyway, back to what I was doing. And then he ended up hearing somebody do this like hooty hoo type of whistle. It was the equivalent to hooty hoo. So he was like, okay, let me go over here. So somebody was giving out these masks. He put the mask on, then all of a sudden you hear this noise, and this dude throw these two big duffel bags out of a window, and he jumped down from the balcony, and he pick up the bags and go off with the bags, and then he hand the bags off to two other people, and then it ends up being fighting in the street, and somebody saying, oh, he has the money and all this other stuff. I don't know what is going on. They doing a lot. And so a police officer tried to arrest him. Now, he don't know he undercover doing what he doing and all this other stuff. So he kind of like flipped old dude and, you know, body slammed him a little bit and told him, I'm sorry. And then he went on by his business. So then I see this dude, that's somebody who has a mask on as well. He kicked somebody halfway across the street. I was like, who is this superhuman person? I don't know who this person is. I feel like I'm supposed to know who it is, but I don't know who it is. He has a mask on. So then he comes in contact with the guy who Sam had been working with. And so the dude that sat up here and slammed him to the ground, and he stomped him so hard. I really, as soon as the scene started, I was like, he might not make it out alive. Man, he stomped his face in something terrible. He had a big old like footprint or whatever on his face. I was like, ooh, and like everybody dispersed. So he was just there by himself. But he lived, he came to. Now, before this happened, well, before we saw it and after they'd actually gone to try to get the loan, right? Him and his sister, they went up into the place. Now, before they left the house, I think that they had a whole bunch of plates. The sister sells plates on the side too. Like, she doing everything she can to make ends meet. Like, she doing a lot. They already have like a shrimping boat and, you know, situation like that. Like, people come up in there and buy all that. I think people come and they pay them for the stuff, and they go out and charter waters. They do the most to try to keep that business afloat. So they went to the place thinking that they're going to get a loan. Well, at least Falcon think they finna get a loan. So the man was like, where do I know you from? I know you from somewhere. And so he was like, did you go to LSU? Did you play for LSU? He was like, no. He was like, are you sure? Don't I know you from somewhere? He was like, do you? So then he did like this. Soon as he did, he was like, you're the Falcon. That man set it off, and then he took a selfie with him and everything. So his sister kind of laughed a little bit. And I mean, I feel like that was a little glimmer of hope for that brief moment. And then that man proceeded to say that, you know, you have no income showing for the last 5 years, and everybody looking like, okay. He was gone for 5 years. He was one of the people who was swept up in the 5-year situation. You know, people were swept up or whatever. Yeah, I forgot if he was one of them or not. I think he was one of them that was swept up in the blip, in the snap, as they called it, y'all. That's what my shirt is that y'all seen. It was Thanos'. People call him Thanos. Some people call him Thanos. I call him Thanos. Yeah, the finger was like this. It was the snap that happened where 50% of the world disappeared for 5 years. So anyway, child, needless to say, he was like, a lot of things have changed. You would have been able to get a loan based off of the old format, but after everybody came back, you know, a lot of stuff got tighter. And so the sister was like, yeah, it seems like things get tighter for certain people, you know, trying to insinuate black people. So he was like, hey. That's what the man was trying to say. And so, of course, the sister's upset. He was like, I don't care if I have to go to every bank in this city. The sister was like, why don't you just drop it? Like, this is what I wanted to avoid. I didn't want to have to go through this. Like, this is too much. I don't want to have to go through this. So he was like, I don't care what you say. Half the boat is mine. Half the house is mine. So you can't move without me. He ain't agreeing to it, so she can't do nothing. So he done went back to the house. And I really feel like before they went to the meeting, that the sister had made up some gumbo. And I got so mad because I ain't had gumbo in like 15 years, y'all. Gumbo is so delicious. Gumbo is so good. Like gumbo, it just, as much as I'm a Southern girl and I'm used to the fried chickens and the greens and all, I'm used to collards. I'm used to collards and, you know, fried chicken and macaroni and cheese, and I'm used to all of that. But man, gumbo is just, ooh, child, gumbo is delicious. So anyway, I feel like that's what it was. It was some kind of Louisiana dish that she looked like she was on the way to sell some plates after, you know, she went to the meeting, y'all. So anyway, old boy sent him a text message while he was trying to work on the boat. He was working on his parents' boat because literally can't even crank it up. Like it's gone. It's messed up. Can't fix it up. Can't do nothing. Can't even get no money to fix it up with. So anyway, old boy texted him and was like, I need to talk to you. When you get to a secure line, open this video up and watch it and call me back. So he had sent him a video because he had been recording the whole time when that whole ordeal went down in Switzerland and then people put the masks on and all that stuff. So he was talking to him. He was like, oh, so he's a part of this organization, the Flag Smashers. And so he was like, yeah. So yeah, y'all, that's where I'm at. I'm almost done. I'm sorry for pausing and it literally being basically the same amount of time as the runtime of the show, but it's just the memories for me. I'm gonna try to be better when I do the second part, but hopefully y'all have been fast forwarding through my, you know, ramblings. I can't help it. Like I get so excited, and this has kind of renewed my faith and excitement about Marvel again, because I have not seen anything Marvel in quite some time. Y'all, he in the middle of his little briefing with old boy and told him that he'll circle back to him at the end of the conversation because he was kind of trying to gauge where his thought process might be going. Y'all, his sister came in the room, was like, oh my gosh, Sam, look at this. Then turned on the news. They done announced the new Captain America, basically. Because they felt like, oh, well, we're happy that we have people fighting abroad, but we need somebody that's going to help us back home. And I think they have appointed Bucky, but he has on the whole uniform. And I'm like, well, it would make sense. They worked side by side. Like, they knew each other like the back of one another's hand. That would make sense, but I don't know. I think it's Bucky, y'all. I think it's Bucky. And, you know, Bucky is the Winter Soldier. So anyway, it just is what it is. We're going to see what happens, y'all. Again, I apologize for this being so long. It's just the nostalgia for me. It really brought up a lot of old stuff that happened before. And hopefully I will be half the time from here on out. Anyway, I'm about to get into the recap review for the second one very briefly. So hopefully y'all have enjoyed this, even though it was lengthy, especially if you are someone who is not familiar with the Marvel Universe or or at least these different parts of it that I'm talking about right now. Anyway, thank y'all so much for tuning in. I am very appreciative of the support. Thumbs up this video and let's get down in the comment section and discuss it.